this is something that people do ask me a lot. They're elsewhere. And they always ask me with the best intention, and the question they ask me is, can music change the world? And it's a fair enough question, because we all have that feeling, that special feeling that music does something to us. But I have to tell you, music cannot change the world. That's the truth. But that does not to say mean it doesn't have an important role to play in the process. Let me tell you about my experience with music. When I was about 19, 20 years old, I worked in an office with a bunch of guys who were a bit older than me. And their language every day, it was racist, their language. It was sexist. It was homophobic. And I knew, listening to them, sitting there with them, when they said these words to people, I was very embarrassed. I knew what they were saying was wrong, but I was the youngest person, and I felt I was in a minority. And I didn't say anything because I felt I was in a minority. And then one day, my favourite band, The Clash, they announced that they would perform a concert for Rock Against Racism. So me and my friends, we went to Trafalgar Square in London. We marched through the streets of East London to a park called Victoria Park, in Hackney, where I will be playing on Sunday, on the day of the Jubilee. I'll be playing in the Victoria Park. Nothing to do with the Jubilee, that's where I'll be. But when we got to the park, waiting there to see The Clash, there were 100,000 kids just like me. And it was that day, that afternoon, that I realised that my generation would define ourselves in opposition to discrimination of all kinds. As our previous generation had defined themselves in opposition to the Vietnam War, we will be the generation of two-tone, of artists against apartheid. We would fight sexism, we would fight homophobia, we would fight discrimination. And you know, I came home from that gig, and you know, I went round my mum's. She made me the same thing she made me every Sunday. World hadn't changed. World was exactly the same, you know. But when I went to work on Monday morning, I knew I was not in a minority in my generation. And I knew why I was different from these arseholes and why I should speak up and challenge their lazy fucking language. And so since that day, I've tried as hard as I can, whenever I can, to stand up for those ideas that first came to me that day in the park at Rock Against Racism. Now, the very important thing, this is the most important thing that you understand. It was not The Clash that changed my perspective of things. They did a very important job. They got me to the park. That's important. They brought all of us together. But what changed my perspective, what gave me the courage to go back to work and speak up, was being in that audience with those other kids, singing those songs, clapping those ideas, feeling together. That's what gave me the courage to go back. It's the audience that has the ability, has the responsibility to change the world. Because, you know, we up here, you know, in 20 minutes I'll be down there, I'll have the same power as you. And even worse, tomorrow I will be in another city telling this to another audience. You will still be here to deal with the problems that you face. But I hope that tonight you've had a feeling that you're not the only person who cares about the ideas that we've spoken about here tonight. You're not the only person in Vienna who gives a shit about this stuff. I hope that you felt inspired, not just by what I've said, but by the reaction of your fellow citizens, because I have been inspired by your reaction tonight to these ideas that I've been throwing out. And that is why, after 29 years, or however long it is, that's why I'm back. That's why I'm back. Not because it's alphabetical and Vienna's right down the bottom, but because I get inspired by audiences. And I have a great faith in your ability, the ability of the audience to actually bring about real change in the world. That's what keeps me doing this silly old job that I do, even though I'm kind of getting old and grey. And that is how music makes a contribution to changing the world. That's all it does. So I want to sing this song and dedicate it to you because it's a song about faith. It's about my faith in your ability to change the world. Thank you very much. If you want to make the weather, you have to take the blame. If sometimes dark clouds fill the sky and it starts to rain, folks complain, and though your head may tell you to run and hide, reach out, you'll find me there beside you, right by your side, because I keep faith, I keep faith, I keep faith, I keep faith in you. Yes, I do, I keep faith in you. If you think you have the answer, don't be surprised if what you say is met with anger, contempt and lies. No matter how hard you may want to, just walk away. Reach out, you'll find me there beside you, all of the way, because I keep faith, I keep faith, I keep faith, I keep faith in you. Yes, I do, I keep faith in you. All the dreams we shared, never knew no one who cared about these things the way that I've seen you. It doesn't matter if this all falls off the cliff, together we are gonna see it through. Now I know it takes a mess of courage to go against the grain. You have to make great sacrifice for such little gain, and so much pain. And if your plans have come to nothing, washed out in the rain, let me rekindle all your hopes and help you start again, because I keep faith in these troubled times. I keep faith in these uncertain days. I keep faith in you. Yes, I do, I keep faith in every single one of you. I keep faith in you. Yes, I do, I keep faith in every single one of you. I keep faith in you. Yes, I do, I keep faith in you. I keep faith in you. I keep faith in every single one of you.